Today's show is brought to you by locally owned and operated Highland Rim Speedway. Highland Rim Speedway is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year with great short-track, door-to-door stock car racing in a safe, family-friendly atmosphere. Visit their website at highlandrim.com. From the family grocery hauler to fire-breathing racing engines, the one name you need to know is USA Motor and Machine, located at 51 Cleveland Avenue in Nashville, Tennessee. Give them a call at 615-726-3725 or at usamotorandmachine.com.
Microcasting for your city, Talkapolis.
And welcome back, everybody, to Pit Pass. I'm Joe Williams, along with the master and my idol, Larry Woody, longtime writer for the Tennessean here in Nashville, and of course, known across the country for his work in automobile racing coverage. Larry, you're still doing radio in Seattle and writing for Racing Today.
I work cheap. That's why I'm in demand.
Is it?
Yeah. No, I enjoy it. Like you, Joe, you know, we've shed a lot of press boxes for the last 30 some odd years, some odder than others. And we do it because we enjoy it.
I don't think I've ever told you. The first time I really met Larry Woody, I was a young one. He was young too at the time. But we were standing outside the bullpen at Nashville. Well, neither one of us at the moment. But anyways, we're standing outside the bullpen at Nashville at 1:15 in the morning, waiting to see if Sterling Marlin was legal or not.
Right.
Like 1980, 81, something like that.
I think Darrell Waltrip had, no, Sterling, that was another night, Joe. Waltrip had won the race, and Sterling had protested. And, you know, Sterling's dad and mom and relatives and aunts and uncles are all gathered around the car. And I went over to ask Darrell what they're doing to his car, and he said, I don't know, it's covered in marlins. But anyway, that was another one of those long nights at the fairgrounds that you speak of. They put in some overtime.
Yes, we have. Now, speaking of working cheap, we've talked about, Larry and I have talked about this a bunch. We've talked some about the future of the Nationwide Series and how that thing is struggling, and the trucks have struggled, and the whole 9 yards. Got some numbers for you here. Let's throw some things up so you can see this. In the race Saturday, Kyle Busch wins the race. Brad Keselowski is second. Neither one of them got any points, Larry. All they did was came in and took the money.
Yep.
Justin Allgaier, the highest finishing Nationwide regular. Trevor Bayne in fourth. Elliott Sadler was fifth. That leaves our Jeff Green, by the way, wound up 37th, had some handling problems early. Now, here's my point. Out of those top five, three, yes, are regulars. But watch this. The top finishing Nationwide driver in the Nationwide race, Justin Allgaier in third place, won $45,000 for finishing third. On Sunday in the Cup race, Scott Riggs finished 43rd, dead last. Made $47,900. Larry?
There's a big difference, Joe, but if you look at it, I guess, objectively, there's an awfully big difference in the salary structures in every sport. You know, for example, Major League Baseball. You know, the guys out here playing AAA ball for the Sounds, they barely make lunch money. Well, a little better than that, but they don't make these multi-million-dollar a year contracts that the guys make once they get into the big leagues. So there's that big disparity, and I know the Nationwide guys don't want to hear it, but they're a minor league. They're NASCAR's equivalent of minor league, and NASCAR's position is pay your dues in the minor league, work your way up, and hope someday to get that big league contract, and then you'll make the big money. Having said that, the difference is these guys have to race just as hard as the big leaguers race, take the same risk, and their expenses for the team, the outlay, is pretty close to what the Cup outlay is.
And that's where I was headed next. Let's put that slide back up there again, because here's the point. Here's my point. While yes, they may be the minor league, the cost to do business, you know, in a baseball situation, the team pays for basically everything. All you got to do is show up and play. In this position, well, let's say the team's in. Let me back up away from drivers. This is what the teams won, okay? The teams are having to pay. Larry, the winner, Saturday, Mr. Busch, congratulations, by the way, to Kyle getting back on the winner's table, $70,700. Carl Edwards won on Sunday and picked up $298, almost $299,000. Here's some numbers for you that might help. The difference in the distance. The Cup guys drove a little over 50% more. They had it wound up being a 316 lap race. The Nationwide race was 200, so it's about 100 laps more. Let's say it's about a half. The difference in the winning purse. The winning, we won't go to the rest of it, but the winning purse, the difference on Sunday, 300% more.
Only 300%.
300%.
Well, as our friend Gary Baker said before, Joe, that's why he's not running the nationwide
and I guess that's my point.
And, it's as Gary's pointed out, it cost him as much to haul his cars to Phoenix or Daytona to race in the nationwide series as it cost Rick Hendrick or Joe Gibbs or any of those big Cup guys. It cost them the same amount. It cost Gary Baker and his partner Mike Curb the same amount to put their crews up in hotels in Phoenix and Daytona as it cost Rick Hendrick and the big leaguers to put their crews and teams up in the motels. So, there's a little difference in the cars. The Cup cars cost a little more, but not tremendously amount. I mean, the R&D programs and so forth, the nationwide guys have a pretty big layout. And again, disproportionately, how much they spend compared to how much they take in. I can see where that 300% figure comes in. The question is, what do you do about it?
Well, I was going to say, and this is not a shot at the tracks or at NASCAR. I'm just saying, surely to goodness, they've got to be seeing these same pretty common sense numbers and saying something's got to be done. Now, on the other hand, Larry, you talk about costs. One number that I ran across a couple of weeks ago that just astounded me, and the new Gen 6 cars use carbon fiber hoods. It doesn't sound big deal, right? They had a little trouble. One company makes all the hoods, and they had some production issues getting them done. Now, you figure 43 cars, they needed 6 to 7 hoods per team. You're talking, 300.
And
say 350.
And a hood cost
$2,500 a hood. $2,500 just for the hood on the car. I can go down here to Salvage Place in Laverne and do better than that.
pretty expensive little fender benders.
Yeah, I was going to say, it probably won't be a carbon fiber, but I can get a hood.
Well, those are some of the things that Gary Baker, again, to keep bringing up Gary because he's a consummate insider. He's been there as a driver, team owner, marketer, everything. Gary knows more about NASCAR racing from the business standpoint than anybody. As much as anybody around the country, and Gary has lobbied for several years, particularly since he became a team owner, to try to get NASCAR to intervene and rein in some of these costs. Just like you said, Joe, there are some things that NASCAR could do to cut costs and maybe level the field a little, but so far it doesn't seem like, frankly, NASCAR is particularly interested. Now, NASCAR, to its credit, has done some things, I think, to try to help the Nationwide Series, like not letting the Cup guys compete for the championship in the Nationwide Series. You can't have a big leader going out there and competing for the minor league championship. On the other hand, as you pointed out, the Cup guys still go into the big races, the big money races, Daytona, some of the other big races, and scoop off all the top prize money and leave Jeff Green and the other and the Nationwide guys fighting over the leftovers. So NASCAR is trying, I think, to do some things, but it still hadn't come anywhere close to solving the problems that are plaguing the Nationwide Series.
Okay, here's one for you, just off the top of my head. You want to fix that? Here's what we do. Kyle Busch won $70,700, but since he's not a points guy, he's a Cup guy. Let's cut his purse in half, and whatever that half is, drop to the highest finishing Nationwide driver. The second place guy, whatever he won, I've forgotten now. Let's cut his in half and drop it to the second highest and just,
Well, I can see one effect, Joe, that it's a little different in not awarding points where they compete for the championship, but when you start cutting paychecks, that's sort of a gray area. And again, the effect probably would be that you'd discourage more of the Cup guys from running Nationwide. And I hate to say it because Gary disagrees with me, but the Nationwide Series needs some Cup guys in the lineup. Just when they raced at the Super Speedway, Cliff Hawks, the general manager, said he loved to see the Cup guys coming in because the fans like to see them, TV viewers like to see them, the ratings go up with you got the Cup guys in the lineup. Cliff Hawks sells more tickets to his Nationwide races when you got them in the lineup. Their presence does benefit the series from that standpoint. Again, the other side of the two-edged sword is that they take away most of the prize money.
Take away the prize money on TV races. They lots of times take the majority of the interest or attention that's given. I guess my point is we've got Listen at me. Like
You and Mike Hilton.
Yeah, exactly. But I think NASCAR knows this, but they've got to start developing stars all the way through so that it doesn't matter. If you run a nationwide race, you've pumped an Elliott Sadler and a Justin Allgaier just as much of how good they are at what they do to make it as important to see them race as it does to see Kevin Harvick and Carl Edwards on Sunday. And there's not an easy answer for that. I mean, I got to admit, it's a double-edged sword, and both sides are sharp.
And again, NASCAR doesn't want to see the Nationwide Series fold, and certainly not the Truck Series. The Truck Series is the most competitive series in NASCAR and has been for 10 years.
Yep.
But NASCAR's got a business interest in making sure these second and third series continue to run, and you can bet that Brian France, Mike Hilton, all the executives in Daytona are kind of as concerned and perplexed as you, me, and Gary Baker are right now. But it's so difficult. I mean, how do you keep these guys from competing? And at some point you don't want to keep them from competing. The series needs them, but how do you keep them from dominating and siphoning off all the money? It's a complicated problem. I guess that's why you and Mike Hilton haven't been able to solve it yet.
Partner, Mike Hilton's much better prepared to solve this than I will ever be. Be the first one to admit that. Tell you where they are creating new stars, though. They're creating new stars every weekend at Highland Rim Speedway. Just go up 65 or down 65, jump off there at the Bethel Road exit, just follow the signs to that great, fast little high bank quarter-mile racetrack up in Ridgetop, Tennessee. Season opens shortly.
Only 20 miles from Nashville.
If that.
Yep.
Take big steps, it's not as far.
Yeah.
You just got to take bigger steps.
Drive fast.
Drive faster. It doesn't. Yeah, exactly. That's Highland Rim Speedway. See them online at highlandrim.com. Speaking of the rim, when we come back, we're going to talk about the rim and a couple other things. Oh, we're going to let Larry unload on one or two.
No, not me.
Never know. Y'all come back and join us for the last part of Pit Pass.